Hello and welcome to our living room. Thanks for joining me. Today we'll be talking about hymn 537, Christ for the World We Sing. Who wrote the text and who had a hand in writing the hymn tune? The history of the hymn tune is not so obvious. It involves an Italian violinist and composer, basically your 18th century version of a super rock star. It also involves the London Lock Hospital, which was a rehabilitation center for women who had sexually transmitted diseases. And two hymnals, the 1916 New Hymnal out of the Episcopal Church and Hymns Ancient and Modern from Great Britain, and also an American named Lowell Mason. So let's dive in. The Episcopal tradition of an official hymnal differs from the Church of England, which has never published an authorized collection of hymns. Hymnal usage in the Episcopal Church has been around for about 240 years. Hymnals in America have been authorized for the Episcopal Church by General Convention, starting in 1789, and of course, our last one was in 1982. In between came 5 other hymnals. In the first 4 hymnals, only hymn texts were authorized. Unauthorized editions of these hymnals with music or hymn tunes were published privately. The 1916 hymnal was the first to be published with an authorized musical edition. It was more commonly known as the New Hymnal. Hymn 537, Christ for the World We Sing, was written by Samuel Wolcott, a descendant of Oliver Wolcott, a signer on the Declaration of Independence. Samuel was born in 1813 in South Windsor, Connecticut. After receiving an education at Yale University and Andover Theological Seminary, he went off to be a missionary in Syria. He returned to America only because of ill health. He was a late bloomer when it came to hymn writing. He didn't write his first hymn until he was 56 years old. And this hymn, Christ for the World We Sing, is one of his earliest hymns. Let's unpack the history on this hymn tune. The melody was supposedly written by Italian composer, harpsichordist, and violinist Filippo de Giardini. Giardini was a little bit like George Friedrich Handel. In other words, your typical 18th century superstar. His music was being performed all over London in the 1750s alongside performances of Handel's Messiah. So while Handel's Messiah was being performed at the Foundling Hospital in London, Giardini's compositions were being performed at the Lock Hospital in London. The Lock Hospital chaplain, Martin Madden, somehow managed with good music and strong preaching to turn the Lock Hospital into an unlikely but fashionable place of worship. Madden was an adapter of hymns and edited several tune books. A collection of psalm and hymn tunes never before published was an influential source on the English hymnal Hymns Ancient and Modern and on the Episcopal New Hymnal of 1916. 2 tunes that this collection introduced survive in today's hymnal 1982. Helmsley, Lo He Comes with Clouds Descending, which we always sing at our lessons and carols service, and this hymn tune, Moscow. The name Moscow comes about because that's where Giardini died. So who was Lowell Mason? He was what we might call a musical energizer bunny. He was an educator, an editor, a composer, and most importantly, a compiler of hymn books. Mason often based his work on European collections, including works by Haydn, Mozart, Beethoven, and other European composers. He was able to further his goal of reform by improving the standards of church music in America. He transformed the music publishing business, and by the late 19th century had produced almost 60 different church music collections. Mason also excelled as an educator. Through his work at the Boston Academy of Music, music education became part of the curriculum of Boston Public Schools, the first public music program in the United States. Lowell Mason wrote about 210 hymn tunes, which are now found in 24 different hymnals. Our hymnal 1982 includes several hymns that either were composed or arranged by Lowell Mason, including Christ for the World We Sing. So this Sunday, when you sing hymn 537, Christ for the World We Sing, think about Samuel Wolcott, Filippo de Giardini, the London Lock Hospital chaplain Martin Madden, who helped further the success story of the hymn tune Moscow, and to Lowell Mason, father of American church music.